It's time now for Echols at 8 with Michael Echols. Michael tackles topics that affect your family and community, such as the state of healthcare, health and wellness, as well as what's happening in Washington today. And now, Echols at 8 with your host, Michael Echols.
Hey, folks, we're back. You're tuned in live to Echols 8 as we're bringing the latest on business, politics, healthcare, and so much more. Broadcasting from the steps of the Louisiana Legislature in the Echols at 8 studios of Baton Rouge. On the line today with Stan Harris, the executive and CEO of the Louisiana Restaurant Association, as we talk my favorite topic, food, and what our restaurants are serving us up all around the great state of Louisiana. Some of the topics before the break, looking at how restaurants are growing with technology and lots of innovation. But one of those things right now we're starting to talk a little bit more about is nutritious, affordable, and sustainable. The local foods and the local things that are grown and integrating those into restaurant selections. Dan, what is the industry doing now? And we're seeing more of this farm-to-table movement to innovate in the food space.
Yeah, we have to think about the first of all, there's federal policy that makes it a little bit challenging sometimes for these smaller producers. And, we've got a lot of chefs. We've got take like Corey at Parrish up in your part of the state. And you take the higher-end restaurants here that want to be more curated about where their food comes from. And they're working with smaller producers on proteins and vegetables and fruits and things of that sort. There was an article today that I was reading on Axios about a organic citrus farmer here in the New Orleans area. So a lot of that is tied to people are trying to eat smarter. They're trying to know what's in their food, where it comes from. And so the sustainable and local part of that is really, really cool. The other part, too, is that the guest today is far more informed on what they want to consume for the most part. And, John Besh told me a story not long ago that he said, in our restaurants, probably 40% of our entrees served are not the way that we design them because we're having to accommodate somebody's needs for a dietary issue or a spice issue, or perhaps maybe it's a gluten-free option, and somebody's looking at that. I have a daughter who has some challenges with that, and of course, we're looking for restaurant options that give her the opportunity to have the same experience that we do.
Well, certainly changing preferences, one of the big ones. And you're hearing folks talk about this more and more and more. I believe the numbers are 1 in 5 Americans. But Wegovy, Ozempic, the weight loss drugs, changing individuals' habits in eating. What does that mean to the food and beverage industry, and could that impact bottom lines?
Well, at present, most of those drugs, it's an off-label use for the weight loss is a secondary effect, and they use those to lower A1C levels and things of that sort. So people that are diabetic and all that have that. And I'm not a medical guy, but I've certainly seen enough commercials to think about what those jingles put into your mind. But at the same time, healthier living is a thing that people are going to look at as far as extending their life cycle. And better eating, the choices that you make. I had someone tell me that was my cardiologist not long ago. He said, look, those are great things. If you can lose 15% or 20% of your body weight, that's great. But if you don't change how you get your nutrition, if double cheeseburgers and chili cheese fries are what you're going to eat regularly, he said that's probably not going to be sustainable for you. He said it's okay to reward yourself. It's okay to celebrate. But you've got to get to a point where you're getting the nutrition you need, number one. And number two, you're doing things in a manner that's sustainable so that you can manage your weight when you've gone through that type of weight loss, because these medications, as I understand it, aren't created for you to live on for the rest of your life.
Definitely got to be careful with that, but also changing habits of individuals. Let's jump back to LRA resources. You got members all over the state, tens of thousands of employees that you guys represent, if not hundreds of thousands. It's a big industry, but you provide services to restaurateurs and members. Give us a flavor of what those services are and how people can get involved in your organization.
Yeah, probably the best tool and the best benefit of being an LRA member is being able to access our members-owned workers' comp program. It's targeted to the industry. It's focused on getting injured workers back to work as quickly as possible. And you've got the ability to call us. We handle everything from underwriting to claims management to making sure that that injured worker gets to the right kind of quality doctor so they can get a very good outcome. Secondly, we're the largest provider of food safety training across the state, and we're one of the top providers of responsible vendor training for alcohol service. So those are the things that we provide that are things that everybody in the industry that might have a bar or an alcohol license might need. But if they don't serve alcohol, obviously food safety. And we'd love to have a chance to pitch our workers' comp to them, because every nickel that's extra in there either goes back in dividend to the member or it comes to us to work on advocacy for the industry. And seeing you at the Capitol yesterday, we're up there. We've got 70 people there for Lobby Day. We're advocating on behalf of everybody in the industry.
Well, definitely a big industry, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people in the industry. I had Lieutenant Governor on in the segment before, and we were talking about sales tax generation. This is one of the largest taxpayers or beneficiary to the state treasury. Can you dollarize that for me? What does it mean for your members? I want people to know how big of an industry this is for Louisiana.
Well, if you think about it just from a sales tax standpoint, Louisiana's restaurants are targeted to do about $14 billion in 2024. $14 billion. That's a huge market. Now, compared to Texas, that's broken $100 billion, or Florida, that's at $80 billion, it's not close. But the most comparable state to us, believe it or not, in revenue for food is Alabama. But when you take that billion, and you multiply that out times the local and state sales tax impact, in many cases it's another $1.2 to $1.5 billion of sales taxes that we collect for state and local government and remit that back to them to help government and to help us all have a better quality of life.
Well, more sales tax revenue means hopefully more roads and bridges to get people here to eat our good food. You guys invest in your young folks. I'll call them apprentices. You have an apprenticeship program. How does that work, and how do people get involved if they have folks that want to get into this industry?
Yeah, we have a multiple number of apprenticeship programs that come through the U.S. Department of Labor and the State Workforce Commissioner. The governor's done a great job picking a new head of the Workforce Commission in Secretary Susie Schoen. She comes from the workforce development side. She really understands how we need to structure these types of apprenticeships and training programs. If anybody has any questions on that, they can reach out to us at the LRA at 504-454-2277. At any time, we can hook them up with our folks that deal with apprenticeship. And apprenticeship is really your training in the structure of a registered apprenticeship. So that's all it is, but it gives us a really good retention tool. We know that retention rates of staff that have gone through apprenticeship is upwards of 90%.
Lastly, in that apprenticeship program, restaurant managers, kitchen managers, line cooks, a lot of training that goes in there, and then some wage opportunities for these individuals, these young individuals. Moreover, when you're working with getting this industry set up and established, community colleges playing a role in this industry to train your best and brightest, how does that relationship work? And if someone's interested, how do they get involved?
I had a meeting with President Monty Sullivan of the LCTS system this week. We spent about an hour and a half talking about just these things. We have articulation agreements right now from our high schools into LCTS programs around the state. And what we're looking at doing is figuring out how we can make that grow, because generating industry-based credentials, but also supplying some tools to smaller operators who may not have a robust HR or onboarding program, or things that we're looking at how we can partner with LCTS around the state and build a more robust employment group and a more robust opportunity for people with these industry-based credentials.
Well, big opportunities. Lastly, if someone's interested in joining your association, being a part of these resources, give me some websites, places to go that they can sign up.
Really simple, LRA.org, LRA.org. We've got a great app they can download from the App Store. It's the LRA app. They can find out a lot of information there. Visit our website or give us a call, 504-454-2277. Stan
Harris, Louisiana Restaurant Association. Man, we just need y'all to keep on cooking.
Well, Rep. Echols, we always need people like you, good, solid, pro-business people that want to serve the rest of us in the legislature. So thank you for your service.
You got it. San Harris, Louisiana Restaurant Association, folks, jump on their website if you want more information. A lot of great resources there, and if you're in the food and beverage business, a lot of great products and opportunities. So we thank them for all the service they're doing around the great state of Louisiana. We're out of time today, folks. We've got a couple of minutes left here in the show. I just want to remind you, you can tune in each and every week on all of our radio stations. Remember, KWLA 103.1 in western Louisiana, eastern Louisiana, 104.7 The Gator, our friends in northeast Louisiana, Talk 540, 105.7 FM, and our iHeartRadio affiliates. Remember, after the show is over, you can also go to iHeartRadio, download the show. You can hear those on the KMLB link with Spotify. That, of course, online for your listening and viewing pleasure. Next week, we got some great guests lined up. We'll be talking to both politicians and innovators. Actually, we're going to bring in some lobbyists. I want you guys to know what the lobbying industry does. We'll break some misnomers and also give you some inside secrets. That's right, we're going to give you an up-close and personal of what goes on in the legislative process. We'll have that and then some other special guests come on to talk about some of the things going on in both economic development and job creation. Who knows, maybe even a surprise guest from out of state that could tell us something about our economy and where Louisiana may be going. But we'll get to that the same time, same channel next week. Until then, we appreciate you joining us here on Echols at 8. We'll be on each and every week, same bat time, same bat channel. Be good, be safe, and avoid all the crazy weather this week in Louisiana.
You've been listening to Echols at 8 with your host, Michael Echols. For more information on Echols at 8, or for more news, commentary, and recent shows you may have missed, visit michaelechols.com.